Hey, what's up guys? And before we get started with today's video, I want to give a little disclaimer to what's going on here. These are older videos that I had planned to release last month, but never got around to editing them, so I'm posting them now. Granted, nothing has changed about the video's contents or anything like that, and nothing has been censored as per the latest poll on my channel. But if that doesn't bother you too much, thank you guys for watching, and let's get started, shall we? Hey, what's up guys? Shadow Steel here. Welcome back to another episode of Railworks Sundays. We are on Mariah's Pass today as we operate the SW1 on a bit of a switching run here. So we are... Oops, shit. I was going a little fast there, buddy. But we're doing some switching out on Mariah's Pass. And we are going to be... Oh, there. Oh, okay, that's how you open the windows. Okay. And we are basically... just basically... and so we're just switching some cars around in Whittier... Or not Whittier. What is wrong with me lately? We're over in Columbia Falls as we do some switching out here. So we're going to be doing some operational switching for once. What the hell? Oh, okay. Yeah. All right, release the brakes. Let's go. All right, off we go. Let's see. Can I open the door? Can you? That's a handbrake. Off we go. Can't go past this crossing. I was gonna blow for the crossing, but whatever. There's another crossing up ahead. Oh, I didn't know you could hear the wind. That's cool. That's a really cool feature. I like that. This is the first time I've kind of run around with this locomotive a bit with the windows open. It's a nice little window. Alright. Okay. Cleared. Gotta make sure we're switch your line for our pickup here. There we are. Picking up those cars. Last time I did recording on this video, I derailed. Because I tried to couple up to the cars and I didn't want to couple up.
Huh?
For some weird reason. Oh. Alright, here we go. Oh, those mileposts are real close. Oh. There we go. Sounding the horn as we go back. Go a little faster now. Normally I would sound the bell, but that's not too bad. Trying to get things done quickly here. There we go. Through the crossing. Now we pick up our wood chip hoppers, which are down the line here. See them right there. We got some cars to pick up. Basically interchange work. Kind of feels familiar, doesn't it? If you don't know the reference, I'm talking about Railroader, which is rather ironic because I'm using an SW1, and the SW1 is one of the locomotives you can buy by default in Railroader. It's one of the switchers you can buy. So it's kind of cool to actually see this in another game and actually operate it in another game, and from there kind of get the feel for it. Those are the cars I ended up derailing earlier. I might actually use that as B-roll footage. I actually have a little bit of B-roll from another video a while back from British Rail. And yeah, kind of fun. Alright, sound the bell. Back it up. I think we need to be at least a mile per hour. A couple of miles per hour to get the thing hooked, so... Hard to get a good view of this, honestly, from this angle. Slow down. Okay. That should do it. 1.5. Easy. Easy. Good hitch. Alright, good. Heard the hitch. Let's go. Set the reverser forward. Release the brakes. Set it forward. Notch up. Alright. First time I've run a... It's actually... I think this is the first time I've run a repo product... Or repo product on... In the game. So, kind of cool. They're nice locomotives, I gotta admit. The rolling stock, not so much, because... That's not Repo's rolling stock. That's default rolling stock. But the yeah, most of Repo's products are pretty good. I might actually play another one of their locomotive rolling stock packs coming up here if I get the chance. I have a few of their products, but so far nothing. I haven't really played around with their scenarios here. All right, flip the switch. Good to go. Switches your line for the reverse. Back to normal. Go back over here. Now that we've got 3 cars on us, we gotta make sure we are good to go for switching jobs. So if we slow down a little too much here on that coupling move over there, what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull forward and push back into it again. Oh, we should be good if I do this correctly, anyway. And then we got some tank cars over there that we got to pick up too. So, but those should be the only cars we pick up. Okay. All right. So if I apply brakes, yeah, go ahead. About 50% on the brakes. I'm using locomotive brakes mainly because those are pretty strong on this locomotive. Alright. Alright, we are set to reverse. I'm going to go back over here. That should do it about 3 miles an hour, maybe a little faster. 4 miles an hour should do it. Okay, easy does it. Speed limit is 10 miles an hour here. We're going about 3.5. Not too bad. And coupling speed, I believe... I've always mentioned this in multiple videos, but it's 2.5 miles an hour, I think? I want to say that's the speed for coupling. So we need to be careful here, because we're right up against the buffers back there. So once we get in position here, I'm going to slow her down a little bit. Got it. Good hitch. You can see the slack kind of pulling back. Pulling the cars a little bit further back. See, you can see we're right up against the buffer. So we were pretty goddamn close. Alright, now we go forward again. Okay, off we go. Alright. Here we go. Gotta make sure we don't go over 10 miles an hour. Here's a spitter. Air spitter. Okay. Either that or that's the engine. I don't know what that is, but there's like a little... You can hear it. Like this... Like almost like a like when you put a card in between the two spike in the wheels of a spoke, in the spokes of a bicycle wheel. So. You can also see how it accelerates just suddenly and then kind of drops back down, which is kind of interesting. I really do enjoy this locomotive. It's kind of nice. Alright, we're clear the switch back there. I'm going to flip that back. Go. Clear the switch back there. And this is a switch we got to flip again. Pick up these tank cars. So we need to clear the switch. So we are stopping at South Approach, which is right here. Interesting. The way they have this Y set up is actually quite interesting. I might need to take note of this. Because I have my own... I've mentioned this a few times before, but I have my own route called the Blackwater branch that I've worked on for years. 5 years to be exact, as of right now. But... I have a section of the track that's built on a Y... That's on a Y track. There's a Y track situated where the... one of the mining areas is. So, alright. Line the switch back there. Set the reverser back. See the cars and traffic going off over there. I don't know. I can't tell if the clouds are moving. I briefly looked at the clouds, see if they were moving, because that was something I didn't notice in the last video that I recorded. In the last video for the Bozeman Pass, it turns out the clouds were moving just slightly, so kind of funny, but kind of cool. Okay, back her up. There we go. 4 miles an hour should do it. We're picking up some tank cars. Empty tank cars, if I'm not mistaken. Whew. All right. I kind of like doing switching jobs because they're kind of nice. This one's a very simple switching job, but it's not bad by any means. Doing simple switching jobs is quite nice. Oh, we're going a little fast. Slow her down. There you go. There we go. Good hitch. Okay. Brakes on. Brakes off. Alright, we're good. Using the locomotive brakes is a little tricky. It's a little extra challenge there, don't you think? Alright, we could probably use handbrakes too if we wanted. Alright, we're good. So we're going to the east approach now. Release the brakes. Okay. Okay, off we go. Alright. Watch for those crossing as we pull through. I feel like there should be a flagger for the crossing there. Alright, that's enough. And then we'll clear the switch back here. Flip that. Switches are realigned. Oh, we coupled to the back, so I can't even do that. That would have been fun, though, if you had it where you go around the Y. I like the little panel over here. Cab lights are nice. Not bad, honestly. You can feel that the locomotive's kind of struggling a bit now that we have a bit of weight. barely any room in the walkways there. Alright, here we go. So, we're coming up to the east approach here. Or the central. Is this central? Yeah, straight leg of the Y. Alright, we'll shut her down. Another crossing up there, I can see it. Okay. Cleared. Okay, at least those are getting the bells on. And then once we clear the switch there, we'll stop the train. And from there, we back the train into the leg of the Y. The other leg of the Y, and we'll just sort some more cars around. We're at 15 miles an hour, so that's good. Alright, apply brakes. Train brake. Locomotive brake. Might need a bit more power there. Why not? Okay. Lap. Service. There we go. There we go. Lap. Yeah, it was not gonna... With the amount of weight behind us, that was not gonna work. I mean, I could have used handbrakes, but there's no point in that. Oh, put the locomotive brake back on here. It's going to take us a bit before we're ready to go. Alright. So we're going to go... Yep, we're going to back this consist back into the Y here. Should be good to go. And what I'm going to do, just to be safe, I'm going to line that switch back there. So we have a way to get around. Alright, release the brakes. Open the throttle. Good to go. The bell's not bad, honestly, I gotta admit. The bell and the horn are not too bad, honestly. I like them. All right, what we're gonna do? We're gonna go back to train brakes, because with the amount of power, with the amount of weight behind us, it might be a good idea to do that. All right, going around the Y. There we go. Cleared through. Ow. Okay. Oh. Alright. So you're coming back. It's going to take a bit, but we're going to go ahead and accelerate a little bit more here. I'm going to set the brakes. Flap. It looks like from the notifications it's got the advanced braking script, which is interesting, but not too bad. Alright, that should do it right there. Should do it. Gives us enough time to put the brakes on so we don't stop. Or we stop on. And there we go. Alright, we'll unhook from here. We'll tie a handbrake down on this car. That way we don't... That train doesn't run off. We are barely blocking the crossing, so that's funny. Alright, cars are unhooked. Throttle is open. Release the brakes. Let the brakes charge. Alright, so now we pick up our train that's sitting in the siding up there. Alright. Doing okay. Y east approach. It's probably going to have the crossing blocked for a little bit, but that should be fine. Switch kind of looks kind of goofy, but that's probably because of just how old the track is. Alright, stop here. Okay. Where are we? Go. Okay. So the switches are aligned and everything. We're good to go. I'm going to go set the switches. Oh, we're already set for that. Good. Alright. Alright, we're backing up. Alright, off we go. Gonna hear a little bit of a squeak as it, like almost like tire squealing when you start the horn off. It's very faint, but you can hear it. You can hear it, which is actually very interesting. Go 20 miles an hour. I don't want to speed up again too much. So at a certain speed, the wind kind of picks up, which is kind of cool. I like that. Random power lines up there. Crossing panel's not bad here. Okay. That should do it. Got another crossing coming up. It's almost like there's a sound from Knights of the Old Republic, a Star Wars game. It's a button press kind of thing. Like if you press a button in the menu, it kind of sounds like that. It's very, very faint, but it's when you start pressing the horn, it's like kind of like a doop noise. Just look at me trying to make sense of these things. It's kind of like the tire the tire squeal as well, so that's kind of interesting as well. Okay. There's the consoles we're picking up right there. I might put a comparison noise or something like that in there so you can actually hear it. Because this video is coming out in a week, so I got plenty of time to do it. Alright, come on. Oh, I was a bit slow there. Alright, off we go. That should be good enough. So we got cars we're dropping off. We got picking up cars. We're going to drop off cars. We're going to have a lot of things to do here. We've already been running for 30 minutes, so that's not too bad. Okay. So there's the switch. There's a train. Alright, start applying locomotive brake here so we can kind of slow down. Yeah, we're supposed to go into there at 15 miles an hour. We're supposed to couple in about 2.5 miles an hour, so we're kind of going a little fast here for that. Normally, the conductor, the brakeman or conductor, whoever's in charge of the switching duties, they would get out at a certain point, and they kind of go ahead of us to kind of make sure we hook into the train safely and kind of count cars. But because we're by ourselves, we're just doing it ourselves. Got a set of center beams here that we're picking up too. Alright, that should do it. Alright. 1.5, that's good. Give it a little bit. Go, 2 miles an hour. Alright, we're hitched. Alright. Time to drop off some cargo. I do like switching with this thing, honestly. It's not bad. So, yeah, we got one tank car, quite a few flat cars, and some hoppers, wood chip cars. Okay. You kind of see the bell animate back there. That's cool. Don't really see that a lot with locomotives here. We probably need another notch so we can get things moving. There we go. That should do it. Got on the move now. Normally, you would normalize the switches after you leave them. But because we're going to be dropping off cars back behind us anyway, I might just leave the switch as it is. Okay, what about... So now that we've got our train, I'm going to be using the train brake because this is way too heavy. This is going to be way too heavy for the train itself to move on it, like to stop on its own. So actually having the train brake is kind of crucial now. Alright. Oh, wait, are we coming up to the crossing up there? No, not really. I guess to add to extra realism, I could probably flip the switch back there. Oh well. I mean, I don't play this game for realism, to be fair. Alright, stop. Alright, here we go. Apply brakes. Should do it. Lap. Should do it. We're now far enough back we can actually line the switch. And what we're going to do, I'm going to line this switch back as well. Why the hell not? Normally you do that. And we're kind of... Well, not quite yet. Alright, good. Where the hell am I? There we go. Alright, back it up. Alright, notch one. Technically, under normal circumstances, I would have kicked these cars into that, because this would have been perfect for kicking. But, yeah, probably not a good idea. Not in this game, anyway. Kicking cars is not ideal. Alright, we're going about 3 miles an hour. I'm going to go about 5 before I start shutting down the throttle here. That'll do, 5.5. We'll ease our way into the siding here. Again, switching has always been more of a concentration thing with me, so it's kind of a important thing here. Alright. Getting in there. Just about to finish in. Get the third car into the siding. As long as we don't block the switch, we should be good. So, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to start setting up the brakes. Alright, that should do it. Start applying. Gonna take a bit for it to kick in. Lap. Alright, there you go. Set the brakes. All 3 cars seem to be in the siding. Make sure the handbrake is tight on the rear car there. And yeah, we're good. Alright. We're dropped off. Unhook. Alright. Now, we drop off the logs to the next track over. Okay, get that off the screen. It's going to take a bit for those brakes to come off. There we go. Alright, off we go. clear the switch next, and then we'll drop off the one car. Got those set off. That's good. Okay, now that we've cleared that, go ahead and realign the switch. Oh, there we go. Now we're aligned. And then looks like we're going to be coming up to the crossing here, so we're going to be blocking that a little bit. Yeah, looks like we'll be blocking the crossing up there. So, okay, notch it up a little bit so we can get moving here. I sounded the crossing a little too soon, but it looks like we'll be fine. There we go. Applying brakes. Lap. Alright, we're good. Okay, brakes are set. Kick off the brakes. We'll set these cars off, and then we'll drop off the tank car, which that's the next thing on the list. Kind of hear the brakes kind of slowly coming off there. One trailer, and you'd feel like a trailer park would be much bigger. Alright, that should do it. About 5 miles an hour. Okay. Across the switch here. Gotta admit, the SW1's a workhorse. That's for sure. There's still quite a few railroads that actually operate the SW1, which is really kind of cool. These locomotives are quite the workhorses, diligently working. There is a local railroad by me called the Crab Orchard and Egyptian Railroad that had an SW6 for a while. They've since scrapped it. But their two main locomotives in their roster are both SW1200s, which are kind of the successors to the SW1. So they're kind of not. It's nice to see these locomotives still hauling trains quite often, like especially on modern railroads today. I think the class ones don't run them anymore, but most of the short lines that are still around still do, which is kind of cool. Apply the brakes on that car so we don't lose it. Okay, that should do it. Okay, we're unhooked. Alright. Set the brakes up. Release the brakes. Now we're going to drop off the tank car. Okay. Off we go. But yeah, SW1s, the fact that many of them still operate, like quite a few of them still operate on regular class, like regular freight revenue. I think Strasbourg actually uses their SW1. It's either an SW1 or kind of a late, like SW, like it's an SW series switcher, but they still use it mainly to haul freight in and out of the interchange at Paradise, I think it's called. The interchange with Norfolk Southern. And it's rather cool to see, like, granted, it's always cooler to see steam pulling a modern freight train. But, yeah, like, the SW1s, these workhorses have been around since the 50s. And to see, and like I said, like, I mean, look at that. I mean, Burlington Northern here. Burlington Northern was still using these up until, I want to say, the 1980s, 1990s, right before, like, at least the 1980s, because they were still on the roster. And many of them, because these were mostly, I think, Northern Pacific and Great Northern had a few of these under their roster for sure. And so to have these things under Burlington Northern ownership, I actually might go in, honestly, now I think about it, and make a reskin of the SW1 in the in one of the two roads that I think it's Great Northern, honestly, that this one's modeled after. It's the Great Northern variant, because I think Great Northern and Northern Pacific did have they would definitely be the two in this area that would have had the SW1s in their roster. There's also the Chicago, Burlington, Quincy, which that would be easy enough to model, honestly, now I think about it. Because there's a variation of it that is, there's a couple there's 4 different locomotives in this set entirely. And all of them are pretty good, honestly. You've got the Baltimore and Ohio. You have the Western Pacific. You have the Burlington Northern, and oh god, what's the third one? There's a third one. There's a fourth one. I'm trying to figure out which one it is. I'd have to look it up. Oh, New York Central. That's right, New York Central. So there's 2 for the eastern side of the United States and 2 for the western side of the United States, which is a good balance. And they each come with very unique kind of looks to them. The Baltimore and Ohio version is the later variation of the locomotive, the later paint schemes, because the more modern variations were very interesting in that they had a 3-digit number, but later on they were given 4-digit numbers by looks of it. By pictures I've seen of them, the Burlington Northern, not the Burlington, the Baltimore and Ohio ran these things pretty late. Same thing, New York Central's versions were also quite interesting because they're using basically the livery that they would have used right up until they were merged with Penn Central. And I think these actually the SW1s did eventually end up with Penn Central as well. So it's kind of interesting to see these locomotives in service like they are. Yeah, these locomotives, they have a quite interesting history. I know that quite a few museums use them still. Quite a few short lines that actually operate them still use them quite regularly. And yeah, it's really kind of interesting to see these locomotives perform and do their work. And the fact that we got some in various train games lately. I mean, I mentioned before, Railroader has a SW1 you can operate. You have this one, Railworks, and for sure there's got to be a dozen or more from Trains A New Era, the Train series, the Train with a Z. So you've got like a good amount of options of these various locomotives that are just beautiful, like switchers and everything. And Repo, being the developer he is, it's a very talented developer. They do amazing work, and I have almost all of their products, honestly. I mean, one of the earliest things I got from him was the Baldwin Centipede. And that one actually is pretty beautiful. It's got some unique sounds to it that that I feel like you can't really simulate very easily. I also believe he did. I want to say he also did the shark noses, or one particular version of the shark nose. It was the Broadway Limited set that he did, and it's a very, very interesting set because I think the rolling stock is from DTM. No, wait, that might be a DTM stock actually. Now that I think about it, I want to say he did a version of the shark nose, but I'm not sure if he did or not. Now that I think about it, I'd have to look in the editor because this guy does a lot of the more unique diesels, and even though the SW1 is not a very unique locomotive, it's It's a very iconic locomotive. Because when you actually think about switching, you typically think of these little workhorses. Either that or a small little switching steam locomotive, like an 060, 080 type of, like those little guys. Now, granted, many of the switching that's done in rail yards today are handled by larger genset diesels and whatnot, but these were kind of the workhorses back in the day. And the more powerful they got, the more the more they had a tendency to need the power. So here we come to our next little switch here, our next little stop here. We're dropping off the center beams here at the siding next to us, and then we're going to collect the freight cars that we have on our side, that we left back in the Y. So what we're going to do, we're going to make sure we are clear of the switch here, which means we're going to need to go past it. Switches our line, good. And we're going about 10 miles an hour on a 20, so that's good. Let's start setting up brakes. Okay, brakes on. Lap. I stopped a little short. Oh well, that's fine. We'll just pull forward and push back after this waypoint's selected. Huh. Oh, there's the signal. So technically that's a red block for us. There's actual cars sitting out here. That's interesting. Huh. You can't ever go out that far, but they actually set up cars out there. That's funny. Alright, what we're going to do, we're going to release the brakes. Pull forward a bit more. Oh, there's two signals. There's one, the one right in front of us is just before the switch by the looks of it. Or just after the switch. And then there's another one further down the line with the red block. So, oh, Jesus Christ, I'll whip the camera around again. Alright, apply brakes again. Set the throttle to neutral, or reverse it to neutral, so we don't like send it into blowing the traction motors. And actually, what we're gonna do here, let's switch manually here. This is also one of the reasons why I typically run in Railroader in third person, is because I'm so used to the controls and everything from Train Sim Classic and everything. Like these older games. Like this game I play mostly in third person outside the cab, but that's typically why I operate Trains and Railroader in third person, because I'm just so used to the operations on that side. But one of these days I need to play in first person, play Railroader in first person, kind of do some operations that way. But simply, it's mainly I can't really do that because I don't have anybody else to manage the trains as I go through here. Okay. A little... well. We're just going to let the brakes undo the brakes, and we'll push it further back. Okay. Easy does it. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to set these as far as close as I can to the end of track. That'll do. Oh, not emergency. Alright. Well, we put it in emergency for a brief second, but it didn't track it. Interesting. Whatever. Alright, car's run done. Alright, here we go. Alright, off we go. So we're going to collect the remaining cars. We're going to collect our cars that we left on the Y here, and then we'll take it back to the siding that we just picked these cars up from. Okay, easy does it. I do like the fact that when you're in the cab with the windows open, it's just the wind. There's wind sound effects that you kind of like apply, kind of keep moving here. Line the switch again. There you go. Alright. Set. Go ahead and line the switches back. Go back to you. Line the switch back there. Alright, we're good. Yeah, we're good. All the way up. Okay, off we go. It's a very... I will admit, you can see when you look at a certain angle, there's a bit of a weird shine to it. And that's because... And that as someone who's been doing reskins for at least 5 years, that is actually due to the fact that the locomotive has no alpha textures. Usually that's why there's that shine to the body of the locomotive. I've actually learned that if I add an alpha to the body of like the textures of a locomotive or a car I'm reskinning, it will actively get rid of that shine. Now I don't know if that was done on purpose or if there's some weird issue with how the you can see I'm just tapping the throttle to kind of maintain speed here. I don't know if when they released it, they forgot to add the alphas, or if that's something on purpose, or basically something where it's like, yeah, I don't care. Like, first of all, I have not seen very many reskins of these locomotives just yet, but I would love to do that in the future. Secondly, if there are reskins if there are reskins, I haven't seen any of note that I like, but, you know. Okay, easy. There we go. Coming up to the switch here. So we're going to collect our cars that we dropped off here. Going to slowly inch our way into the siding. Alright, here we go. I'm going about 4.5 miles an hour right now. And I'm going to try and stay about 2.5 miles an hour is probably the ideal speed for coupling, so I don't want to do that too badly. Easy. There we go. Let's do it. I do like the windows in this locomotive. Like that's great for switching, honestly. Oh Jesus! There we go. You see the crossing kind of going nuts there. All right, set the switch back. Release the brakes on the rear car there. Release the independent. Alright, off we go. The one good thing is that there's no cars on that road, so we're not blocking the crossing. Alright, off we go. Go around the switch here. And now, we need to make sure we're clear of the switch just before we apply the brakes and everything. So. Kind of really tell just how much we've done here. Easy. All right. Doing okay. And we got one more car. Actually, we should have multiple cars here, right? No. Yeah. Okay, this is the last kind of cars. Here we go. Apply brakes. Service. Line the switch. Probably should have been on train brake before I did all that. There we go. Alright, we're set all the way through. Okay. See the Center beam's right over there. Should be good to go. Yep. Alright, release the brakes. Let the brakes kick off. Yep, we're lined all the way through. Just need to line that switch. Okay, open up the throttle. There we go. All right, off we go. It's the last bit of work to do on the switching move, honestly. I might do a pass. I did mention I wanted to do a passenger scenario, and I think I have one lined up. So that's going to be fun. I'll need to do some testing runs with it, but it'll be a long journey. Alright, through the crossing right there. Give a little bit more oomph on the throttle. There you go. There we go. All right, that's enough. All right. There you go. All right. There we go. There you go. Clear through that block. There we go. Another crossing. A lot of crossings out here. There we go. Alright, so now that we're through there. Alright, so now that we're coming up to the next siding. Alright, so here we come. Coming up to the siding, so we're gonna make sure we're gonna apply brakes here. Alright. Apply a little bit of brakes, set the lap. Alright, release the brakes. And then we're gonna go around the switch here and we'll be good. I still have my bell on? Nope. Oh, Jesus. Pardon my burp. Okay. Alright. Coming through the switch. And that's it. We're good. Well, guys, that's pretty much it for this scenario. So like and comment down below. Subscribe if you guys want more. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.